IVM.
$100. That's all it takes to begin your journey with Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, really. With CoinSwitch, you can start investing in over 100 cryptocurrencies with just 100 rupees. On top of that, there are zero charges for deposits and withdrawals, so you can trade, buy, sell, however and whenever you want. All of this, plus their extremely intuitive interface, makes CoinSwitch the perfect app for beginners in the crypto space. But don't take my word for it. Just download CoinSwitch for free and try it out for yourself. If you'd like more information on cryptocurrencies, tune into a show about crypto with me, Rohan Joshi, my new adventure on IVM podcasts. CoinSwitch, kuch to badlega.
Here's your smart fact of the day. Michelin stars are a rating system used by the Red Michelin Guide to grade restaurants and their quality. The guide was originally developed in 1900 to show French drivers where local amenities such as, restaurants and mechanics were. Think about that. I mean, drivers, and now today it is actually signifying something else. It's signifying some really hi-fi cuisine. But, at one point in time, it was actually just something like a guide for telling you where the best dhaba is. In France, of course. It started this system with single star, then 2 stars and 3 stars were introduced in 33. 1 star signifies a very good restaurant. 2 denotes excellent cooking that is worth a detour. 3 is you can take a special journey for this restaurant itself. This list is updated every year. 2021 Michelin Guide lists 132 restaurants all across the world with 3 Michelin stars. Isn't that interesting? Hey there! Today, in this episode of Smarter with Sid, I'm going to talk to you about my recent experience at a Michelin-starred restaurant in the UK. Trust me, I'm not showing off. It is a show-offy sort of experience, but it was a very special birthday for me, and I had gone to just enjoy myself. It is certainly not something that you can do too many times in one lifetime. But a Michelin-starred restaurant is something that is worth recounting. And if you ever have the means to do it, as well as the occasion to do it, I certainly would recommend going to one and experiencing it. So the restaurant that I went to is something called Frog, and it's done by the chef called Adam Handling. And this guy is a young guy. He's done a lot of great work in fact, he was on one of Britain's, chef shows. I think he was a finalist, but didn't really win the thing and so on and so forth. But he started this really successful Michelin-starred restaurant. And I learned so much there. But more than anything else, I learned the power of a story. The power of a story? I mean, what? Okay, let me just take a couple of steps back and tell you what the power of a story actually means. It's a very specific thing, When you go in a restaurant like this, obviously it's a hi-fi sort of place. So, you'll have the typical trimmings of people asking you for your, overcoat that they can put in a cloakroom and stuff like that. So that's the fancy bit. And yes, you have to be dressed well. You can't go there in a pair of shorts. So that's a bit of a pain for me. But you do go there, you sit. And what we'd gone for is the tasting menu. So a list of courses actually arrives and you get to enjoy it course by course. And each course is actually paired with a wine, right? So you get the entrees and with a wine, and then it right up to the dessert, which is paired with another wine of sorts. So I'm just giving you the context, making your mouth water a bit, and I tell you what I really actually understood. So let me tell you, there were 2 stories that were going on. One was the story that the guy in charge of serving us was sharing with us, and that was about the food and the experience we were about to have. And the second story was the one which had the open kitchen that you could see with all those talented chefs whipping up dishes and celebrating something that happened and the rest of it, which you could see as you were sitting on your table and just indulging yourself, right? So the first story first. So this young man who was serving us was really very, very well informed of each and every item on that menu, what we were going to eat. It was obvious that he'd eaten it himself. And that's a practice that good restaurants do, so that, any person who's in charge of service, the waiting staff, is kind of familiar with what goes well with what. But this guy had taken it to a new level, right? He was talking about the experience of the food as if it was a story. Now that story meant all talking about all the ingredients, how they were, mixed together, how the wine had a story as well, and which region it came from, and why it paired well with the food, and the rest of it. And what I realized across that meal, as I was getting steadily drunk on wine, of course, but what I realized was that the story was making a difference to the experience of that particular restaurant. It might seem a little fakey to you just because you're hearing it, but trust me, it's not. When you're in that atmosphere and when that food is about to be served to you, and the way in which it is presented in an understated way, not in a, oh, we're doing something very special for you way, but just talking about it and creating a story, it just creates a new meaning in your subconscious head, because it connects to various memories that you have about food, and those memories suddenly evoke certain emotions and certain drama and certain great times that you had with food. And when you actually taste the food, you are not only tasting the food, but you're tasting the memories, the emotions, and the drama. And that is the wonderful part of that storytelling. And this is the part A of the storytelling funda that I wanted to share with you when you enter a Michelin starred restaurant. Of course, when you're in a McDonald's, nobody's going to talk about it like that. And certainly the food itself is of the highest quality and very imaginative and beautifully done and fantastic and all of that. But the story just makes it amazingly better. Now, I wanted to talk to you about the second part of the story, which was about seeing those chefs as we ate and the way in which they were prepared. And obviously, when you're looking at, the whole machinations of a well-known restaurant, you are amazed by the efficiency, by the art, by the skill. And that is also making a play on your conscious mind. You know that you're entering into a very, very special territory, and you're really lucky and privileged to be actually experiencing masters of their art actually go about their daily business. And then you suddenly realize that cooking, or the food that is presented to you in front of you, is not really just well crafted food. It's not a craft, it's an art. And I think that when you see the artist in front of you, you can actually understand the art that you're about to eat. It's edible art. It's as if you're entering into a museum of food. Okay, I'm really waxing poetic over here, but the fact is that there are these two different angles of the story. One of them is obviously a very conscious thing. And the second part of the story, you're very conscious. You understand that you're, in a special place, enjoying special food, and it's very obvious to your senses. But the first part of the story is attacking the subconscious, wherein it is connecting to different deep recesses of your mind and making you enjoy the whole experience at a 10x level. At a 10x. So it's not about the wine, it's not about the food, it's not about the pairing even, it's about the whole thing and how it connects to a story that wins over your heart. And that is the very heart of maybe building a beautiful brand experience, isn't it? And that's what I thought. Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to think in terms of a Michelin starred restaurant whenever we are going about our next project. How about that for a parting thought? And that is my episode today on Smarter with Sid. I hope you like this episode. If you follow the funny side of me, well, you like what I'm doing on Instagram of late. The Traveling Professor, that's who I am on Instagram. And on LinkedIn, I make a few notes that accompany this podcast of mine, which kind of appeals to your conscious mind, maybe, though that's some rational thinking, a few notes whenever I release a new podcast episode. And I think Smarter with Sid cannot be just a podcast that is standing on its own thing. I want it to complement all the other things that I'm doing as well. So stay on the lookout for more announcements of content coming on from the Traveling Professor. And if you like podcasts like these, well, my friends, just go over to IVM Podcasts. They've got some amazing stuff going there. On that happy note, then, until next time.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys. Hey everybody, it's been a great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On a show about crypto, Rohan Joshi asked the question, what is an altcoin, to Akshay Agarwal? Tune in to find out. Did you know consuming pornography in the privacy of your home is constitutional, but sending sleazy messages to other people is not? On the longest constitution, Priya shares some facts about explicit material. On FinTalks, Pratik Mehta, co-founder of Scriptbox, and Upwardly talks to Akhil Handa about sending Upwardly to Scriptbox. On Audiogan, Kedar and Abhineet ask Vandana Abraham, design head at Altasian, about her experience working at MNCs. And on Yuddha, Anirudh and Aditya talk about Babur's finest hour at the first Battle of Panipat. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of the shows on the IVM network for that matter, please do tell a friend. We really appreciate that. And finally, I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Siet Cred, Banco Baroda, Quarter, and CoinSwitch Kuber. We really do appreciate the support.
Have you ever wondered where the business world is headed? How the ways in which we create, market, and sell to consumers will evolve? Or if we'll ever go back to wearing pants while working? For answers to all of this and more, tune into Advertising is Dead with me, Varun Dugirala. Every Tuesday, as I talk to entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers from across business, media, marketing, and beyond. You can catch all episodes of Advertising is Dead on the IVM Podcast website, app, or wherever you get your podcasts from.